What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. Today on our Travel Tip Tuesday, we got a special guest, none other than the solo travel queen herself, Melissa. Say what's up, Melissa.
What's up, y'all?
So today we'll be talking about
how to maximize travel as a college student.
Great. So stay tuned and check out these tips that we got for you. So between the two of us, Melissa and I have traveled to over 40 countries, and we've been able to do so by using some of these tips.
So for our first tip, we're going to talk about knowing your college schedule. So every year, it's generally the same. You have summer break, winter break, Thanksgiving, spring break, and then you have like your long weekends here and there, Martin Luther King Day, President's Day, and that really gives you the opportunity to know in advance that you can take time off to travel, or how long you may need to travel and how much money you have to save up before the end of the semester so you can go somewhere. And for me personally, I use that as like motivation to get to the semester, because I know that once it's over, I'm gonna be in the country living my best life.
That's a fact. Right. So tip number 2. So after you got your syllabus, you know when you're gonna travel. The next step is finding a cheap flight. For me, this is probably the most important part, because finding a cheap flight will save you so much money in the long run. If you saw any of my other videos, then you would know how I find cheap flights. Up here, you're gonna see that linked in exactly how I find those. But really, I just subscribe to a lot of different airlines where they give me notifications of different places that have sales at the time. Being subscribed to these lets me know when there are cheap flights, and if those are in my same time zone, then what that lets me know is that I can travel in those or I can't. The good thing about being a college student is that you typically have at least 4 days to weeks. For a normal working person, you don't really have that much time at one time to travel. So being able to use those weeks at a time to go places is a great way to use and find a cheap flight.
Tip number 3 is keeping an open mind about where you're going. For me, I like to use Google Flights. Once you know the dates that you're available, you put in your home airport, or even you can put a couple of them. You can put like sometimes I put Boston and New York and Providence. Those are like the 3 that I can take a train or a bus to. Click anywhere and it will just list you every single flight. You can put in the price that you want, like the cutoff price. Like I'm not taking a flight that's anywhere over like $700 or whatever.
700? I ain't going nowhere for 400.
Listen, it depends on where you're going, okay? If I'm going across the world, 24-hour flight, then I expect it to be a little more expensive. I
expect to not go on that flight.
Okay, so he's gonna stay on this side of the world, okay? And I'm gonna be on the other side. So I would put that price cutoff point and it would just list every single flight anywhere in the world, and I would just pick based on whatever those options are. For my trip to like Southeast Asia, I think I put in New York, and was the state that I was going to leave from, and the cheapest country to fly to in Asia at the time that I was going was Malaysia, and I never knew anything about Malaysia. I never really had like an interest in going to Malaysia, but it was the cheapest flight, and then I looked up all these things to do there. And it was great. I met a lot of people and it was fun. And then from there, I was able to travel to other countries because I was already in Southeast Asia.
Tip number 4.
So speaking of Southeast Asia, tip number 4 is going somewhere that your money can go far. Southeast Asia being one of them. It cost me, when I was in Cambodia, maybe $2 for a meal.
$2?
$2 for a whole meal that filled me up. A hotel on like the top, for me, on the top floor of the Face Suites in Malaysia was $40 a night. I got the best view that I've almost ever had in my life. The gym was all the way on like the 100th floor, okay, in Asia. Could never get that anywhere else. One time in Egypt, I paid $1 to ride on a scooter. That was my Uber. It was Uber scooter. I didn't know
Uber scooter?
They don't even have that as a thing here in America, but yes, you can take an Uber scooter from my hotel to like, it was the museum or something, for $1. My mom probably wouldn't have approved of me getting on the back of the scooter with a stranger, but you know what? It's okay, because I made it, and I'm here now to talk about it.
Uber scooter?
Uber scooter. even a massage. I think in Bali, I got a couples massage.
A couples massage.
This is like a vacation that wasn't a vacation. Okay. This is a different video, different day. Couples massage. Each person was like $25 each for a whole 60-minute massage.
60 minutes?
60 minutes for $25.
Dang.
So your money goes far in certain countries. So even if the flight may have been expensive to get there, like going to Bali, I mean, it's almost 24 or 30 hours to get there. So the flight is generally going to be more expensive, but you're going to spend a lot less money there than you would in a weekend in Miami here. So.
All right. Travel tip number 5. So, traveling with a friend. Like, I'm a solo traveler and
So am I.
she solo travels as well. But if you travel with a friend, you split costs. Like, literally whatever you would pay, you're paying half. So, if you're staying in a hotel, if you're going to a destination, if you're getting a taxi, all these different things, you can split costs and save a lot of money. Or if you got a certain budget and you weren't planning on spending it, spend that. You just get a nicer place. Like, if I'm planning on spending $15 at a hotel, now I got a $30 hotel instead of $15 hotel. I mean, I'm still a little low down, but I'm a little better for $15. So.
I remember when I went to Iceland, I really wanted to go as cheap as I could, but that would have been getting a rental car. But I was by myself, and getting a rental car by myself for the whole 4 days would have been way too much money. It was going to be like $100 a day for 4 days, which would have been a lot for one person. So it ended up being cheaper for me to book like tours and stuff rather than renting a car. But if I had gone with other people, then that would have been much cheaper if we could have just like split that rental car 4 ways. So
Sure.
get you a friend.
Tip number 6. This one is free walking tours. So pretty much every country, I want to say, maybe not every country, but a lot of countries have free walking tours. Like, there's a lot of different resources that you can use to find the free walking tours. And especially if you're traveling solo, meet other people while you're there. So it's a really good resource too, and it's not expensive because it's free. You literally just pay what you think the tour was worth. So I remember I was in Panama, and I went on a free walking tour. While I was there, honestly, this tour was trash. It was trash. But it was free, so I didn't feel obliged to give him a ton of money. I would have been mad if I paid $40 for the tour, but I gave my man $3 after the tour. I mean, I probably should have given him some more, but listen, it was trash. Tip number 7. So this one is really traveling during off season. So by traveling outside of the season, for example, winter break, going to Europe, even during our summer, going to South America, going to Australia, you'll save a ton of money. A couple years ago, I went to Paris in the winter and I got the flight for about $90. Like Newark to Paris, $90 I got to Paris. So by traveling in the off season, you get super cheap flights and allows you to see great things. I didn't care what it was like. I just wanted to go and experience something new.
And weather, honestly, I mean, if you're here in the wintertime and you go to London in the wintertime, winter is winter. If you see me on my Instagram, okay, right here, you see me looking real poppin' in my winter coat and my fur, my faux fur, in Paris, okay? So you can still do anything that you can do in the summertime, you can do in the winter, obviously besides like the beach and stuff, but there is no beach in Paris or London anyways.
And also, when you're on the off season, what that means is there ain't nobody there. So that's even better because you get these destinations pretty much by yourself, and you don't even gotta have nobody in pictures.
You know you gotta do it for the gram.
For the gram. Travel tip numero 8.
8 for those who don't speak Spanish.
Numero 8. This one is taking public transportation. So typically when I travel, I love walking because you get a great sense of the city that you're in. A lot of times when you're driving or getting Ubered around, you don't really get to take the time to see everything that's going on. But taking public transportation is a way to travel like a local, see how the locals do, and also save you some money. Typically, the public transportation is going to be way cheaper than those Ubers, those taxis. So,
Getting a driver.
Absolutely, getting a driver.
So we know Darren's from New York. All right. And the trains in New York, they could be a little questionable.
Hey.
Okay.
With the COVID going on right now, they cleaning them, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Sure. So, but you don't have to worry about that in some of the other countries. Like in Singapore, that was the cleanest. That was probably cleaner than like my own bathroom in my house. Like, it was beautiful. You're literally like, you will get charged if you litter. There's no gum on any seat. There's no paper on the floor. Everyone's like in their own space. It's sparkly clean, white, fast. Like,
They got rats?
no.
I don't want it. I don't want it. If they don't got no rats, I don't want it.
None of that. So if that's what you're worried about, like the public transportation not being clean or anything like that, then in some countries that you go to, that's not something that you have to worry about. Because like, if you can take the train in New York, then you can take the train anywhere else.
It builds character, builds up your immune system. And from that standpoint, a lot of times taking a cab to the airport or leaving from the airport are crazy expensive.
One time when I was in Portugal, literally, I Googled before I got there, like how I could get from the airport. Was I taking a cab or taking the train? And taking the train was going to be the cheaper option. And when I got there, you literally walk out of the airport and look to the right, and the train station is right there. It was easy to figure out, like, it's like red line, green line, blue line, just like how we have here. And so I took the red line straight to my destination, and I literally was dropped off like right at my Airbnb. So it was so simple, so easy, and it was probably like €2, which is $3 to get from the airport to your Airbnb, which you could never do that in a cab or Uber.
For sure. Travel tip numero 9. So this one is about getting cheap accommodations. So I'm a budget traveler. Let me say that fair and square. Listen, I've been places where I stay in hostels for $3. I've been in places where I stayed in hostels for $5. You go to all these different places and you find these hostels and you can stay super cheap for literally dollars. I'm all about the destination, but the cheap hotels are where it's at for me. Hostels is where it's at.
Now me, on the other hand, okay, I like to think I'm like somewhat of a budget traveler, but some things I'm just not comfortable with. I've tried a hostel before and it really wasn't for me. I don't like sharing a room with people I don't know. But I don't mind like sharing a bathroom with people I don't know, as long as I have like my own place that I can sleep. So I do more private room Airbnbs. So those are where either the host or other people who are booking the Airbnb are there. You guys have your separate rooms, but you would share the kitchen and the bathroom or the common spaces and stuff like that. So I still feel like I get to meet people who are staying at the Airbnb as well, or getting advice from like the host. Like the host will tell me what's the best restaurant that's like down the street, or like anything, like things that I can do around the Airbnb, but I get to still have my own room. Right?
Travel tip number 10. Now, this for me is a game changer and something that I didn't even know about, but carrying a student ID. Yo, y'all a student, use your student ID. You go so many places and you don't even know. Just ask, do you have a student discount? And a lot of places, especially going abroad, have student discounts.
Especially in Europe. They don't always advertise it like in the prices, but definitely like he said, like just ask if you have a student discount. Even like when you go to the store, you ask if they have a student discount. And if they do, you get that discount. If not, then you pay what everybody else pays, but it doesn't hurt to ask.
Exactly. I remember one time I was in Cyprus, and in Cyprus, literally every single museum, I didn't pay more than $1 to get into any museum. And for the adults, it was like, I want to say over $10. I didn't pay more than $1 to go to these museums in Cyprus, just for having a student ID. So make sure you're a student, use your student ID.
I've even gotten an international ID one time. And with that, I was able to book a cheaper flight on their website. Like I got a discount by being a student through them. And then when I got to, I don't remember what country it was, but I remember I pulled out like my regular student ID and they were like, oh no, I don't know what school that is. Like it could be fake. And then I showed them like my international student ID and then they let me in. So I would do your research to see like beforehand what places would take a regular student ID or international student ID and see what the benefits are of either getting one or not. I liked it that year that I had it because I feel like I got a lot of discounts, especially with that flight, because I spent $425 to get from Boston to Malaysia and Bangkok back to New York. So
$425?
$425.
Nah, that's good. I ain't gonna lie, that's good.
$425.
Travel tip number. It's travel tip number 11, right? We don't got enough fingers. But this one right here is a class schedule. So, especially when you're upperclassmen, you get a choice of your schedule. So, in a lot of times, you can have classes on Wednesday, Thursday, and Tuesday. And if your schedule is like that, guess what? You have Friday off and Monday off. If you have the funds to do so, every weekend you could be out. You could be out Thursday night and have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So 4-day weekend, every weekend is dope. Like for you to go over all the places that you want to get to with a 4-day weekend, especially because it's going to be off season every weekend for the most part. So take advantage of those and set your class schedule the right way. Travel tip number 12. Now this one right here is super important, especially if you're traveling budget airlines going from country to country, because if you do, the luggage fees will add up. Right up here you see how I put a video up about how to avoid these luggage fees, but I'm team carry-on. Actually, I'm team personal item. Yo, listen.
I'm team carry-on.
I travel with this bag right here. This is my go-to right here. Now,
I use an actual like rolly carry-on bag.
She got a roly-poly-oly book bag. You know the ones with the wheels with the lights on them?
Listen, you gotta be able to get the fits. Okay, you gotta have at least enough space to get a couple fits so you can have the Instagram pop it.
I hear you.
He be wearing the same thing every day.
Every day, B. Every day, B.
But if you're gonna be a minimalist like Aaron, you could easily travel with just a personal item for a long weekend trip.
I could travel with my pockets. I just put my clothes right in the pockets. Right in the pockets. All right, so there you go. 12 tips on how to maximize travel as a full-time college student. So hopefully I can get you back on, Melissa.
He's gonna pay me, we'll see.
Hopefully I can get her back on, but if not, I really appreciate you, seriously. And listen, this is the travel queen right here. So if you haven't checked her out, check out her IG, because she be everywhere and for the low too. So please be sure just to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and just let me know future content that you guys would like. Thank you.